Talk to him. Talk to him.
That was a only like the brown. At least you guys are brown. At least that much. Do a back video of yours? Yeah. Do your back camera.
And if you did, sir, brother, that makes it so much worse, man. If you did that you're here. So much worse. Fucking way. Ain't treat nobody look like me like that.
I know, exactly.
Nobody looks
No,
like
not
me.
you. I was talking to
You look more Hispanic than we.
What's the? What are you guys trying to get from the video and everything?
Put some light on it, man. So, like, whenever you guys are, like, detaining somebody or whatever, how do you know they're illegal before you put them in handcuffs?
Yeah, that's a very fair question, and I think that I think more of us would like to have a conversation about these things, but we can't because this isn't a press conference. You know what I mean? So I can't go and give official statements in front of video cameras. You know what I mean? But I try to. I'm not from around here. From where I'm from, I try to engage with people that you know are out here having some kind of protest, and so I want to hear what they have to say, and because I can learn something from you guys, and maybe you can learn something from us. But we can't do it like this. You know, this is not a conversation. You know what I mean? This is a gotcha.
Yeah, this is 100%. Yeah, I see that side of it too, man. But I guess my question is, like, so what's the protocol? Like, if you saw him walking down the street right here, do you stop and pull him over and say, hey, show me your papers? Well, that's like a Fourth Amendment violation.
But that, I understand that concern for sure. Our role here, the three of us, is protection of the folks that are engaging in the enforcement action. So my job as an HSI agent, which is my job, is not to engage in enforcement actions like that generally. We're here, the three of us, and most of us that are around here are here to support and protect Border Patrol that's here to engage in those primary enforcement actions.
So y'all are separate from Border Patrol,
Yep.
man. So I guess, I mean, you may not even know, but is that their protocol, though? Do you see somebody in a certain type of vehicle to stop them and ID them? You know?
So I can't speak to Border Patrol protocols. I can speak to laws. You already brought up the Fourth Amendment, right? There's the Fourth Amendment would protect from unreasonable searches and seizures, which is what law enforcement engages in searches and seizures, right? Yeah. So we have to be bound by what is considered reasonable for them. I can speak to the law because that applies to everybody as far as procedure for Border Patrol. I've never been in the Border Patrol, so I don't know. But I appreciate you trying to have a conversation about it.
Bailey,
I'd like to do that with anybody, but we can't do it again with cameras like this. You know what I mean? So you guys all take an example from Bailey trying to just have a conversation, and we would like to do the same, but a lot of times we can't.
For innocent people, my question.
Trying to have a
conversation.
conversation. 70% of people being detained by you guys right now are nonviolent.
So listen, I'd like to have a conversation, but this isn't a conversation. This is a gotcha, and this is not how adults have polite conversations with
Ain't
each
no
other.
adult here.
Just handcuff him. Don't look. Just handcuff him.
All right. Get him up.
Make sure everybody lets everybody know immigration is here in Charlotte. Yep. What is that? License plate. Exactly. License plate.
¿Qué opinas de que ganó Mandani?
Yo quería que gane él y gracias a Dios ganó él. Entonces lo que me ha gustado de ese candidato, que escuché que iba a ayudar con el arriendo de los hogares. Entonces,
how come you are not getting help into a shelter? Are you receiving any help? It's very sad to see you here.
Sí, yo vivo en un Chester. Y yo estoy acá cerca. Si no es que lo que pasa es que en el Chester hay algunas veces que dan comida fría y hay algunas veces, ocasiones que dan la comida caliente, lo cual yo tengo 2 menores hijos que están ahorita en la escuela y ellos son los que no quieren comer la comida. Estoy sentada ahorita y tratando de vender algunas golosinas para yo poder comprarle la comida a mis niños.
Ask her how much money she makes out here when she's out here for 5 hours.
No, 5 horas es si es que puedo llegar a venir un día sábado con mis niños, puede hacer que me quede 5 horas, pero ahorita no, máximo 2 horas, 3 horas.
¿Y cómo
En mi hogar somos 3 niños y 2 adultos, que somos mamá y papá. Yo recolecto para mis niños unos $30, máximo $40 a lo mucho y me retiro.
En 2 horas.
En 2 horas.
Do you want to become a citizen?
Ay, obvio. Sí.
When you become a citizen, do you think you will vote more for Republicans or Democrats?
En eso sí, creo que es en el yo creo que no solamente yo, casi la mayoría no está de acuerdo con este presidente que actualmente estamos, porque las cosas se han puesto mucho más duras que antes. Mayormente a mí como le digo y lo vuelvo a repetir, yo sueño con irme en un arriendo porque no es fácil vivir en un Chester. Para las personas que dicen, no, ay, que vives del gobierno, no es fácil, te lo digo, no es.
It's interesting. She came into the country illegally. Her stroller looks nice. Her whole family is living off the government while she makes $20 an hour off the street. And yet she says it's not easy to live off the government. I don't know, that food looks fine to me. And if your family's life was truly at risk, wouldn't you be more grateful to the taxpayers who are paying for your family's food and shelter?
Yo recién llevo un año aquí, pero verdaderamente doy gracias más al Señor que me hizo entrar por frontera, que es Joe Biden.
Ok.
No, usted me lo quiebra, usted me lo paga. Usted me lo quiebra, usted me lo paga. Usted quiebra mi ventana. ¿Por qué hizo eso, señor? ¿Pero por qué lo están haciendo? Lo que quedó de mi pobre carro. 2 veces en 10 minutos me pararon. Entrando al restaurante y cuando vengo con la comida la segunda vez. Los segundos no tuvieron benevolencia de una. No tengo aquí, ¿va? Uy, me dobló la nuca bien feo, además, porque me agarró aquí, mira, y me hizo así, como si estuviéramos en la lucha libre. No, pero ¿sabes qué? Ay, es que no tengo carro, ¿va?
Si necesita algo, yo lo puedo llevar donde usted necesita.
Tell me what happened this morning.
That happened that morning when I come to here. I see the Latinos walking, running fast. I say, what's wrong? Behind 2 officers, the Latinos, I see the officer immigration try to catch him, you know. And I say, oh my goodness, the immigration is here. Yeah. Okay, I come to take breakfast in the restaurant. I park right here. When I walk in, the 3 cars is stopped to me. And I'm coming and asking for my status on USA, you know. I say, why you ask that? He say, oh, use handsome, that's it. I don't handsome because it's the other Latino is in the area. I try to take time for the other people going, you know. For about 20 minutes, I stop to the officer. 20 minutes, okay, I give you good. When I coming out, 2-3 minutes after, when I come to my truck, when I try to start my car, is a other different cars stop to me. In 1 minute, the officer say, hey, open the door. Say, I'm scary, you know, because it's 2-3 minutes. Because I can't to take my breakfast for to go, because I go to work. I see him, what's wrong? He say, open the door. Why I open the door, you know? I broke your window, okay? Broke it. I got my video on live, you know? He broke, open door, and too hard to take out to me out, you know? And second, I go to the ground like this. Right here, when coming up, I try to stay inside the car. That one officer take to me like this. I got pain in that moment right here. That's crazy, but I'm excited right now because everything happening too fast. I got my wallet right here. He asked for how your status on USA. He say, hey, my wallet is in the wallet is in my pocket. He say,
Still, yeah, they'll probably be out there eventually. Yeah.
Right here, put in the car. 10 minutes from here, I say, hey, I got my papers with me. I'm USA citizen. He say, my right ID is in my wallet. He don't hear me. Okay, I get to 10 minutes from here. He put on the computer something like that, and she say, oh, everything is good, everything is good. Stop. Say, okay, get out. 10 minutes from here. You know, hey, give me right to my car. My car is start armed, you know. When I come here, I don't have the key. He take the officer take out when I come it out. But that's crazy because around to me and the first time is American, the white people, the black people, and one lady Korean. I say, why you ask it just to me? Ask the other people too. You trying to find for Latinos? No, for everybody, and it's illegal in here. Say, okay, the black one, white, and Chinese. Why just to me? You know? And the first time the officer was good. But in the second time, 4 minutes ago, you know, don't have time, don't got paciencia and everything. Everything happening in 2 minutes.
How many officers would you say that you saw, like during your instance? How many officers would you say you saw?
Around the first 4 and the second 6, I think so, or 4 and 4.
I mean, I know you said it was going so fast, but what's going through your mind as that process is kind of playing out, though?
Okay, in the second time was crazy because it's same thing happening 4 minutes. In the second time we say, hey, 5 minutes, you stop to me, but not me. That's my first time. Everything, don't give me time to explain nothing, you know?
Yeah, and now you don't have keys to your car, broken window.
Yeah, now I need to pay maybe $700, window and key. This is happening in Charlotte this morning. For the next couple of weeks, it's the same. The people come from Chicago, you know, the officers driving Suburban, black, but come from Chicago, it's like too snowing, it's like white in that moment. You know, just carefully stay in the home, that's it. Now I don't go to work. I don't got key. I got my breakfast.
You better stay clearing out! You better stay clearing out! You better stay clearing out! Let's start throwing guys in here! Hurry up!
Okay, by now everyone knows that Border Patrol is in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we are only on day 2 of this entire operation. Day 1 had about 81 arrests from Border Patrol, but on day 2, protesters and advocates, they are starting to push back. So we have a lot to dig into, and one of our predictions actually became true. We'll get to that in a second, but first I want to give credit to Olia Scootercast and freedomnews.tv. That is where we are sourcing these videos from. I'm a massive fan of Olia and freedomnews.tv. Make sure to go give them a follow. Go tell them we say hello, especially Olia. She has amazing footage, so shout out to her.
Yep, whistles, whistles, whistles. You're a reporter. Okay. Whistles. They hate them. Yeah, blow on that shit as loud as you fucking can, dude. They hate it.
If you guys have been following my coverage in Chicago, I said the whistles were going to become a problem for Homeland Security. Here we are on day 2 in Charlotte, North Carolina. The whistles are here on day 2. Now, if you haven't already, make sure to please like my video. It's the #1 way you guys are helping this channel, and it also helps others see the videos as well. And I think people want to see the whistles have made it to Charlotte, North Carolina, because we will be tracking this story every single day. So make sure to like the video and get it out there. And here come the whistles. So this is a near perfect image of exactly what we saw in Chicago as far as the insults and what we're seeing. Surrounding federal agents, using whistles, using cell phones and live streams to track everything, the racial insults, near perfect image. And since this is only day 2, I am personally a little worried it's going to get a little more aggressive. I hope it doesn't, but because this is already day 2, it does worry me a little bit since we track this kind of stuff every single day and we track the patterns throughout all of these protesters and their actions against federal agents.
You better start clearing out! You better start clearing out! You better start clearing out! Let's start throwing guys in here! Hurry up! Yeah, you're right! You're a fucking man! Look at that! You piece of shit! Let them agents alone! Let them alone! Clear out! Stop sitting today, you bitch-ass motherfucker!
Now, like I also pointed out, since we're only on day 2 within this Charlotte mission, I talked about this like 2 videos ago, the agents, I think, are trying to pick and choose their battles. Considering over in Chicago right now, there is like a zero tolerance for anything you're seeing right here. When federal agents get surrounded and things get way too dangerous, that's it. You're going to either get arrested or tear gas is going to be used. We are already seeing signs that agents are trying to be a lot more, I don't want to use the word careful, but a little more lenient in these types of situations. I highly suspect it's because in Charlotte, the federal agents have a blueprint that they saw worked in Chicago and didn't work in Chicago, and I really think the federal agents are not trying to clash with the protesters in Charlotte like we're seeing in Chicago. The agents have a mission, they're trying to stick to the mission, and there are people who are trying to get in the way, and they don't want to deal with that. They just want to do the mission and get the job done and get out of Charlotte. I also want to point out, I mean, they're hitting the vehicle, they're walking up on the vehicle, they're already getting the license plates. Day 2. And if you needed any proof that somebody made contact on a vehicle, I mean, they literally left their handprint on the vehicle. I don't know how you'd get away with this one. We can see the evidence, but I just want to show you guys because Border Patrol and ICE don't get enough credit for this. They really are a lot more passive than people think. You really have to take it far to get arrested. You really do.
No, let me ask you. Can you help me with the solution you'd like to see me do?
Surely, I can help you with the solution. I can give you I give you one simple answer. Send them back. That's the only solution. That's it. Other than that, they will surpass us. It is math. It's simple math. They will overtake us in numbers at the rate that they have kids. They cannot be U.S. citizens. You are dooming our next generation to subservitude. I'm telling you this. Okay. It's just simple math.
I know, but
that's it. It's simple math.
I'm very good at math. Let me share something with you. Most of the persons that are here right now, under the technical definition, do not qualify for asylum.
I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about the children that they have. They will be U.S. citizens, and they will have a voting block. All we have to do now is look at the Hispanic voting bloc they have now. They get everything they want. Look at our communities. You should see the schools that they have as compared to the...
Stand with us with the crime, black man. With the violence going on in our community, black man, all the abandoned buildings, the money that y'all stole that never made it to our communities, black man. Stand with us with that, black man. This is what you can do. Get rid of those illegals that you spent all that money on and put those resources in our community. That's one of the budgets that you can do in that budget. Instead of taxing the rich, black man, but you are the rich. So you think that pension that you think you're going to get when you get out of office, that $1 million pension, millionaire Brandon Johnson, you think you're going to get that? No, you're going to go to jail, my boy. Black man, you're going to jail. President Trump, DOJ, we're calling on you. Black women, the beautiful black women that you talked about, we're calling on you to get this black man up out of office and lock this black man up. You think you just gonna ride in the sunset with that $1 million of pension off the backs of our plight? You think that's what's gonna happen?
Flashback. Under a Johnson administration, I'm not raising property taxes.
Well, so I'm not going to raise property taxes. That's been the lazy form of governance for a very long time in the city of Chicago and, quite frankly, around the country. We have to make sure that we're not raising revenue off the backs of working people. And that's why I'm the only candidate who's committed to not raising property taxes.
Communities have been hit hard because the property taxes continue to go up. And that's why I'm committed to making sure that we're not raising property taxes to keep families in the city of Chicago.
So in order to actually fix our economy, we have to eliminate the structural deficit. We get to make up to $1 billion of new investments so that we can save lives, the programs that are needed to do that. And we do it without raising property taxes.
Losing those surveys from former Chicagoans, why'd you leave? They talk about gas taxes and property taxes and cost of living. As mayor, how are you going to keep from leaving?
Yeah, public safety is still a big deal. And that's what's choking the life out of the city of Chicago, literally and figuratively. That's why I've put forth a budget plan, the only person to do that, where we actually eliminate the debt while increasing our critical investments. And we do all of that without raising property taxes. We have to make sure that we're keeping everybody here. The greatest population loss right now in the city of Chicago are black people. Why? Because we have not addressed public safety and property taxes. We just saw what is going on in Little Village and Pilsen. Because property taxes continue to increase, we're losing people, right? And so we have to deal with the structural deficit that Paul Vallis caused, make $1 billion of investments, and we have to do it without raising property taxes. We can do that.
A few moments later.
Many homeowners across Chicago receiving a hefty property tax increase in the mail.
What?
And they're all wondering where that money is going.
How can you maintain your home if your taxes are constantly going up?
Homeowners in Lawndale are searching for answers together tonight about their property tax hikes. Community leaders partnered with the Lawndale Christian Development Corporation to host this bonfire, allowing neighbors to discuss their options. One man says he received a bill this week that was $977 more than what he paid last year.
What?
Tax increase is tied to a TIF that I have no idea why. Ogden Pulaski TIF is collecting money from our neighbors in our streets, but we're not being notified for what or why it's in the bill.
The group discussed a number of solutions for the issue, including an effort to propose new policy, which would be modeled after California's Prop 13. That would limit property taxes to 1% of assessed value, with annual increases capped at 2%. Homeowners are also frustrated because they feel like they're not seeing the tax hikes lead to notable investment in their neighborhoods.
There's been a divestment in this community for the most part, but it seems like now that people have found an interest in reclaiming the neighborhood, now it's like we're being taxed for prosperity.
Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas also spoke earlier today on the tax bills while at a Rainbow Push event. She says there are new avenues for homeowners to pay these bills at their own pace.
You do not have to pay your bill on December 15th. Did you hear that? You don't have to pay it. Let me tell you why. We went to Springfield last year and set up a payment plan.
Pappas says you could go online on December 16th and find payment plans for up to 13 months. That's welcome news to these homeowners, but they still want some clarity on those tax hikes.
We understand utilities are going up and things of that nature, but it's a valuation issue. Like we don't have schools we need, there's economics that aren't here, but we're being charged to pay for economics in other people's communities.
Now, some people here tell us they haven't even received their property tax bills yet, but we are told that those are going out around Chicago throughout this week.
They feel that you are taxing them into financial slavery to pay for migrants. The exact amount of this tax increase that you're proposing is, I think, to the penny what you've already given to one of the migrant vendors. The migrant vendor named Favorite Healthcare Staffing, not to mention all the other migrant vendors. Wouldn't it make more sense for your tax increase to simply be called a migrant tax on Chicagoans?
Well, if you could just do me a favor, the next time you refer to my wife, refer to her as the First Lady. I prefer that you not remain so familiar with her that way.
Right.
Okay.
The First Lady, and you have a security detail of 200
Thank
plus.
you. I've heard your question.
Mayor Johnson, Chicagoans are very alarmed that at a time when Chicago is clearly fighting for its financial survival, that you're out of state campaigning for Kamala Harris. You are defending Little Dirk. This is your priority. You and your wife Stacy have a 200 plus CPD police security detail when real Chicagoans are obviously afraid and victims of violent crime. And of course, they feel that you are taxing them into financial slavery to pay for migrants. The exact amount of this tax increase that you're proposing is, I think, to the penny what you've already given to one of the migrant vendors. The migrant vendor named Favorite Healthcare Staffing, not to mention all the other migrant vendors. Wouldn't it make more sense for your tax increase to simply be called a migrant tax on Chicagoans?
Well, if you could just do me a favor, the next time you refer to my wife, refer to her as the First Lady. I prefer that you not remain so familiar with her that way.
Right.
Okay.
The First Lady, and you have a security detail of 200
Thank
plus.
you. I've heard your question. Just
Right.
thank you for respecting my wife that way.
Right.
As far as the detail is concerned, there are 4 mayors. The detail operation reflects all of the mayors, past and present. The particular portion of my detail is not the size in which you've described. I believe it's less than 30 or so. That there are shifts that are ran, and like every other mayor, that detail is appropriated according to again what every other mayor has had. As far as what this budget is about investing in people. And what's clear in this budget is that we are investing in youth and workforce. And at a time in which, unfortunately, there has been a great deal of real mean-spirited attacks against young black and brown children. And so we're increasing our investments in youth in the city of Chicago and workforce as a whole. We're going to continue to build more affordable homes. So we've built 3,400 roughly since I've been in office. We're going to continue to respond to the environmental justice that has been the prevailing form of policies for a very long time. And we're going to make sure that we continue to drive public safety and community safety in a very holistic way. And that's why homicides are down, shootings are down, vehicular hijackings are down, robberies are down, criminal sexual assaults are down. We're going to hire 200 detectives by the end of this year, which was a campaign promise within the first term. And so these investments continue to take place. And that's what's most important in this moment, is that I've made a commitment to invest in people, but we've also made a commitment to respond to the structural damage that has been done over the course of decades to our city's finances.
When you say mean-spirited attacks against young black youth,
yeah, so
are you talking about the carjackers or the armed robbers? Or are you just talking about every young black child in the city of Chicago? I'm not sure what you're referring to.
You're not?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Well, there's black and brown children in this city who I'm going to invest in.
And
that's who I'm
they're
referring
dying
to.
in larger. They're being shot and murdered. I'm sorry. And
Thank you for your question.
why aren't you worried about their safety?
Thank you for your question. All right.
Wow, I didn't see you up there today. Have you? Are you enjoying your raise? Any chance of giving us a comment?
Mr. Kelly, please.
What?
Please.
What? Well, it seems like there's a real pattern in the Johnson administration of members of his administration making outrageous comments like your "fuck the pigs" comment. Have you?
Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
Give her a moment. She's not.
Give her a moment? You know, there are police officers who are committing suicide. You know, they're not, and we have a lot of police officers that are quitting.
Thank you for joining.
We're very understaffed.
Good afternoon.
I want to know, how does it feel that Trump is in office right now? You see that? You see the Mayor Brandon Johnson? You underestimate us. You underestimate the black people, and you underestimate Chicago Red. We're the thorn in your side, and we're going to be the thorn on everybody else in this council member side too. If you don't stop what you're doing, we're going to take matters in our own hand, and we're going to stop it. You know that Trump had pulled 45% of the voter in the state of Illinois, 37 in the city of Chicago. That's the statistic. That means that Illinois is turning purple. We're going to turn red.
Y'all can bird dog me all y'all want, but if it's relationship over duty, then y'all don't serve the blue. And you can smirk all you want.
Mr. Sims, direct your attention towards me, please.
You're a criminal. Why do I got to address you? The feds need to address you. DOJ need to address you, and hopefully Donald Trump will address you. Because you're going to protect the undocumented. Why you going to allow for the citizens in Chicago to suffer under your, 33%? When C. Joe Lopez cooked that 3% up a long time ago. Y'all called it a circuit breaker. Y'all been talked about it. Remember, before you came in here and gave that jovial speech, you need to be inspected. You and that creep over there.
Acting like, you just going to bully everybody. You got people, officers whose families don't even want you to come to the funeral. You just like a schoolyard bully. That at some point, and you might not know nothing about it because you grew up in Elgin, but those of us who grew up on the south side and west side of Chicago, we all know that at some point that bully gets cornered in the alley and everybody come at him. And he ain't gonna have nobody to help him. That's you. That's you. Keep thinking you ain't gonna abide by what the President of the United States said. Everybody know better than that. I see you, Anna Valencia, in your red. You know what it is. This is the second time you showed up in City Council in red. You know what it is? Yeah. Yeah. So you and the rest of them that know what time it is, y'all come on. You leave that loser where he is. He's a loser. He's a loser. No, me and Zoe, we ain't doing nothing for nobody except for ourselves. We got you, loser.
14% rating is what you appear to have, Brandon Johnson, across the United States, or how they see you. But 14% rating. Now, I'm going to talk about all those known donations of $11.5 million that came from places like the CTU, the SEIU, the American Federation of Teachers, Illinois Federation of Teachers, and then someone got the nerve to get on there and talk about cutting the pensions. What about our real estate? Because, see, we paid for these properties for a purpose and not for you to go touching it with $300 million that you want to siphon out of the citizens' pockets. Get rid of the illegals, and that'll take your money right back. Start it off with that.
I just got your next property tax bill, Chicago, courtesy of Mayor Brandon Johnson. It's for $1 billion. This is reporter William J. Kelly in downtown Chicago, where Mayor Brandon Johnson is sinking faster than a mob rat in the Chicago River. He's in deep trouble with a $223 million budget deficit that's set to explode to nearly $1 billion by 2025. Translation? Get ready for a monster property tax hike, Chicago. But before you dig deeper into our pockets, Mr. Mayor, how about showing some creativity? Why not introduce a looter tax or a carjacker tax? It's about time the violent criminals start footing the bill. Tax those roving teen mobs every time they stomp a tourist or trash State Street for TikTok likes. And those Venezuelan migrants who have gotten cozy in the retail theft business. They're living it up with taxpayer-funded apartments, free food, and health care. And let's not forget your friends at Favorite Healthcare Staffing. They've raked in $223 million this year alone to manage those migrant shelters. That's the same amount as the city's 2024 budget gap to the nickel. How about a budget freeze on Favorite Healthcare Staffing? Johnson's blown $102 million on culturally sensitive food vendor contracts for migrants. That's a whole lot of dough, and it's not the kind you eat. Why not charge them a culturally sensitive food preparation tax? But Mayor Johnson's not going to do that. No, he's freezing new police hires instead. So let me get this straight. A mayor with a 150 cop personal police security detail is freezing police hiring, but he isn't freezing migrant spending? That's how he got us in this mess to begin with. You don't believe that a Chicago depression is on its way? Just take a look around. Commercial properties make up 36% of the city's tax base, and they're going dark. The office vacancy rate hit 26% in the first half of 2024, a record high, and that will cut our city off at the knees. Honest question, Mr. Mayor. With this billion-dollar budget hole, why are you still scratching your head over how to fund a permanent migrant resettlement in Chicago? At this rate, Mr. Mayor, you're the one who will be getting evicted from the 5th floor of City Hall. You can't make this stuff up. And why would you want to? I'm reporter William J. Kelly with the City News Bureau in Chicago.
When you campaigned, and I remember saying this the last time I spoke to you, when you campaigned, you made a promise that you were against property tax hike. You said that several times. That was one of your biggest campaigns.
Which made it very perfectly clear that we're not going to raise property taxes, and it won't be on the backs of working people and middle-class families.
That is one of the main reasons why the black constituency voted for you, because they believed in you at that point in time. And now you're out here pushing for outrageous property taxes, not just property taxes, bag taxes, there was alcohol taxes, all of these things to clean up a mess that we were trying to tell you not to make in the first place. We were trying to tell you about the illegal immigrants. We were trying to tell you that all of this stuff is going to wind up adding up, and all of this is going to wind up being a debt that we're going to have to pay for. Now the residents of Chicago have to deal with a mayor who broke his promise to clean up a mess that we were trying to prevent the mayor and the city from making in the first place. We tried to prevent the sanctuary city when we tried to have that referendum, and that was completely shut down. The city tried, the black residents tried to save the city, and we were shut down. Now the city is in debt, and now the black residents mainly are going to be the main ones suffering to try to clean up the mess, to try to make up some of the damage from the mess that you all have caused. Do you not feel any type of way of lying to the people, lying to the public, lying to your constituency? Because you promised us that. Now we have to suffer everything as if Chicago is not already difficult enough, as if gentrification is not already difficult enough for the average black man and black woman in this city. You're going to make it more expensive, and not just when it comes to property taxes, but everything. This is why Chicago and the black Chicago is not rocking with the Democratic Party anymore.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy.
A few moments later.
Years of poor budgeting,
rising pension debt, and lack of financial transparency have pushed taxes higher while services get worse. Under Brandon Johnson and Governor Pritzker and Tony Preckwinkle, taxpayers are paying more and getting less. This isn't about politics. It's about accountability. Hard-working families deserve a government that manage money responsibly instead of pushing people out of our homes.
Welcome back, Warriors. It's me, Linda B. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. I have more Chicago Flips Red. You have got to hear about this. These people's property taxes are through the roof, and they are crying out louder than ever before. That is what I'll be talking about today on Chat with me, Linda B. All right, Warriors, you know what to do. Don't forget to give me the thumbs up, comment, share, subscribe to my channel, select all notifications, stick around to the very end. Let's go. I've done a number of videos with Chicago Flips Red. The founders are Zoe Lee and Danielle Carter-Walters. And here I have Danielle Carter-Walters talking about these property taxes. And I am going to show you these taxes. These things are unsustainable. How in the world? And on top of that, people have been going to these city council meetings with the notoriously horrible sub 10% approval rating. Brandon Johnson, yes, he's the mayor, if you want to call him a mayor of Chicago. He is the Democrat mayor. Let me be clear. He's a demon rat. All right. My mother is unhoused and these taxes are too high and the city is in a deficit, while he spends more than $35,000 on blush. That is crazy. I guess that was for his wife. Hopefully it wasn't for him. But I want you guys to listen to this because I keep bringing it up because we really need to pray for these women and the people in Chicago as a whole and the whole state of Illinois. The whole place seems to be corrupt. But I want you to listen to Danielle Carter-Walters and then we're going to go over some numbers.
Chicago and Illinois residents just opened their property tax bills and they're through the roof. This didn't happen by accident. Years of poor budgeting, rising pension debt, and lack of financial transparency have pushed taxes higher while services get worse. Under Brandon Johnson and Governor Pritzker and Tony Preckwinkle, taxpayers are paying more and getting less. This isn't about politics. It's about accountability. Hard-working families deserve a government that manage money responsibly instead of pushing people out of our homes. Chicago Flips Red, we have been screaming this from the rooftop. I told you all, I made several videos. I've told you all that my property taxes, that was one of the gripes I had, was my property taxes doubled, tripled, 60% higher over the years, over the past few years. And we warned you all about this. Even when Brandon Johnson proposed that $300 million property tax hike last year in the budget, and we told those aldermen that we were going to hold them accountable, we've been warning you all about this when they passed that budget last year, that the property taxes are going up. When we told you we're in this $1 billion deficit and that Brandon Johnson, they have no clue how to bring in money. All these people know how to do. Him, Governor Pritzker, Tony Preckwinkle, is tax, tax, tax. Last year, we told you when we had, well, Zoe have been telling you all since, I want to say almost 4 years, 3.5 years now, about how they have been laundering this TIF money and giving it to these aldermen for their pet projects, such as their field houses and things like that. But why is it that we are spending the TIF money on those projects when your aldermen, they get $1.5 million a year to fix up
the community and things like that that need to be done for the community. Also, property tax, those taxes supposed to go to the schools in the community. How is it that our schools are the poorest ever? We are the far as the educational rate, we're the lowest. Look at the schools. The schools are in such bad shape, mold in these schools, and half of those schools are not even filled to even 50% of capacity. So we have poor schooling, poor education. CTU, we see that even CTU spent $7.7 million on trips, safari trips, just poolside, just chilling with our tax dollars. How is it that our property taxes are steady going up through the roof, but our communities, our schools, everything is looking worse? How is that happening? And we told you, we have not received a forensic audit. That's why we've been so vocal and demanding a forensic audit. They're laundering this TIF money. They're laundering this money amongst themselves. Brandon Johnson is creating. Now we're in a deficit. We're broke. He's creating jobs for his friends. These are six-figure jobs that he's creating. How and why are you creating jobs when we're broke? But yet, in that budget last year, these aldermen made sure they voted to give themselves a raise. So we're being taxed all while they're spending money, giving themselves raises, making sure their friends, they create new jobs. Brandon Johnson create new jobs for his friends, all on our expense. We're paying for this, and our property taxes are steady going up. Yet you're spending money on illegal aliens. You never said you're going to stop giving them those free benefits. We know, because Illinois is paying 1.5 billion, maybe 2 billion, between 1.5 billion and 2 billion for illegal aliens, free healthcare, free daycare, free housing, free food, all of that. We're paying for that. So they haven't said anything about stopping the funds for illegal aliens, but yet we're being taxed. Property taxes are through the roof. We are being taxed. And they're illegal aliens, they're giving them free legal services. They're creating no ICE zones. All of these cost money.
All right. So Danielle Carter Walters, co-founder of Chicago Flip Thread, did mention TIF, which are, and I just want to explain what TIF actually is. And it is tax increment financing districts, which are designated geographic areas used to spur economic development. Okay, now she's mentioning all of these like property tax hikes, double, triple, 60% higher, while the city is already in a deficit, like $1.5 billion to $2 billion deficit, while Brandon Johnson, the mayor, is creating jobs for his friends, six-figure jobs. All right. And then they're giving all of these incentives to illegals. And let's not mention the fact, well, I'm going to mention it, that there are aldermen on the city council in Chicago who are not even legal to this country. So, of course, they're going to help illegals. They're illegals themselves, some of them allegedly. You want to see something? I want to show you something. Now, this is enough to make you scream. No wonder the people are always in these city council meetings having a fit. They are losing their properties. Here's an example of these property taxes going up. Tax billed amounts and tax history. This is Chicago. Okay. 2024, $9,408. Okay. And then it's 2023, $5,000. And then in 2022 it was $4,800. And see how it steadily went up. Okay, taxpayers are paying more and more and even more property taxes. And if they don't pay them, of course, they lose their homes. And in the meantime, you have illegals who are getting all of the benefits, all of the freebies, all on the taxpayer dime. All right, so here's more information on this. People in Chicago suburbs just got their property tax bills, huge hikes of 20%, 37%, and more. People are posting their bills. Example, $10,000 for a small 3-bedroom, 2-bath on a small lot. And mayor says he is considering massive property tax hike. We have a property tax crisis in the United States. Look at these taxes. Look at him. This man is pathetic. He is so ridiculous. And now I want you guys to hear a little bit from Zoe Lee. She's at a city council meeting. She's giving Brandon Johnson a straight up fit.
Our next speaker is Zoe Lee.
Now I have, well, first of all, good morning or good afternoon. My name is Zoe Lee. I'm the founder of Chicago Flips Red. You already know I personally have an issue with you, but I want to discuss why the $21 head tax is terrible. Since you've let me grow my organization, Chicago Flips Red, because you will not tell that lady next to you to settle my family's case, I have a conservative movement. And because you guys keep paying for like protests and abusing our police and all those things, I've decided to use the Trump Tower to bring conservative mindsets into the state of Illinois, Chicago, to help bring revenue here. Because as you see, the Magnificent Mile is sad. It needs a miracle, like President Trump was trying to say. I bring 50 to 200 people into Trump Tower because I have no place to go to bring them to. So I'm bringing people here. Tabs, $2,900, $3,600. And they are scared to hire more people because of the $21 head tax. We need revenue. We're on $1.2 billion deficit. We're the third largest city in the country. There's no better summertime than summertime shy. So a boat yacht tax is crazy. When half the people don't know how to swim. And we losing heroes, Chicago young heroes from Lake Michigan. There's plenty of ways to bring in money. Chicago is culture. I don't understand why. Oh, I know why. You're from Elgin. You graduated from Evanston. So that's why you don't know. You've been a clown. But from one non-goofy to a goofy, the $21 head tax ain't gonna work in this city. And these corporations are behind me. It's a no. 100, 200, 1,000, 3,000. It's a no. Look at the State Street. State Street looks sad. It's an embarrassment. Socialism, communism, never going to work. Never in a capitalist society. Never.
I just also wanted to just clarify what Zoe Lee was referring to when she said a head tax. It is referred to as the employer's expense tax or head tax. It is a tax imposed by the city on employers based on the number of employees they have working within Chicago. Officially, it's called the Chicago Employer's Expense Tax. Okay, here are the key points. It is a flat tax levied on businesses for each employee who performs at least 50% of their work in Chicago during a given month. It applies to businesses with at least 50 employees who earn $4,350 or more per quarter. As of the latest available information, the tax is $4 per month per qualifying employee or $48 annually per employee. And Zoe mentioned $21 head tax. Okay, so I did want to just clarify that. So what's going on, basically, these people are being overtaxed. Instead of being able to bring in revenue, the city is just taxing its residents who are already overtaxed, who stand to lose their homes. Okay, and if I'm not mistaken, Zoe Lee's mother, and I think Jessica Jackson, who was a slim lady who is very fiery, who attends the meetings as well. And she said something about her mother losing her home. So they're unfortunately losing their homes and their properties due to these high property taxes. Okay, that the city is imposing, not bringing in revenue, but spending, just finding money to spend on themselves. And she mentioned money laundering. There's a money laundering problem every time you have a Democrat anywhere near some money. Okay, you can be for sure that there is money laundering going on.
California is broken. I mean, at this point, I think to many people, it's a lost freaking cause. And while you could look at Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass and the rest of these clowns and just chalk it up to incompetence, as if California is broken by accident, I think if you take that approach, you're a little too charitable, possibly naive. I don't think California is broken by accident. I think it's engineered failure. I think it's done on purpose. I think California is one of the most bureaucratically corrupt places on planet Earth. And I'm not saying that based on nothing. No, I'm saying it based on the continued compiling of just absolutely insane stories of mismanagement. Money just disappearing. And California is not a small state, so if we're talking about massive amounts of dollars disappearing in California, we're talking about millions, if not billions of dollars in fraud. You know, it's kind of like a weird distortion of California's history, because we know California was created off a gold rush, people heading there to make it big on gold, and now it seems like the same history exists, except the gold rush is not mining actual precious metals. No, it's tax dollars being funneled to consultants and developers and bureaucrats who are getting rich off the massive tax coffers and tax collections while everything around them decays. Let's talk about what's being exposed in California right now. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, I want to start off with this clip right over here. We've got this absolute Giga Chad who shows up at the LA City Council, and he raises a pretty interesting point about California's homelessness initiatives.
Now, when we look at the spending that we're actually doing, it's mostly inside safe spending, right? And so far we have spent $450 million to permanently house 1,144 people. $450 million to permanently house 1,100 people. That's an absolute failure. But that money is going somewhere. It's not like that money is just falling into the abyss. That money ends up being somebody's profit. The nonprofit industrial complex who's making a ton of money off of it. And most of those people are politically connected to Hugo and Nithya and Karen Bass, of course, and actually all of you people.
You heard that right. $450 million to permanently house 1,100 people. Freeze that number in your mind. That is roughly $400,000 per person. And where's the progress? Well, there isn't much. And it's crazy to think because, you know, at $400,000 a person, you could build some beautiful suburban homes for those people. But instead, what do you have in California? You have freaking boxes, tent cities. They haven't accomplished jack squat. And that's because we know where the money is going. This guy said the quiet part out loud. The money's going straight into the pockets of government bureaucrats, consultants, and again, developers. And that's because they don't want to solve homelessness. No, homelessness is the industry. These layers of nonprofits where all the money's being passed through. All the impact reports, on-the-ground studies, constant services, 7-figure contracts for government-connected cronies, and no frickin' accomplishment. If you're spending that kind of money, you should have a whole lot to show for it. But they've got nothing. And it's obvious how the scheme works. You got the powers that be, you got City Hall declaring an emergency. They suspend competitive guardrails and then wave in all the trusted partners. Then the money just flows to development shells and connected consultants. And by the time the audits come in, the money's already gone. Mostly spent on fees, markups, technical assistance. The bureaucracy keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. More fees, more experts, more consultants, more developing companies connected, but nothing being built. Nothing to see for it. Failure justifies more funding for the next cycle. Government cannot fix the problem because government is the marketplace. There's no bureaucratic profit to be made in solving a problem. No, the incentive is making sure that all the bureaucrats and their friends get the payout. And it's happening across the board on various different scales across California. It's not just that one housing initiative in Los Angeles. No, but it's happening on the state level as well.
Of where billions of California tax dollars intended to solve homelessness ended up. California has spent more than $24 billion over the last 5 years with little to no progress in solving our homelessness epidemic. California state officials failed to provide meaningful oversight over the individuals who received most of these funds, and they had little to no answers to the public's demand for accountability. Well, that accountability starts today. Today we are announcing significant developments into our investigation. We're making public 2 criminal cases relating to 2 separate real estate developers who were involved in misappropriating millions of state funds intended to combat homelessness. This morning, federal agents arrested Cody Holmes and the former CFO of Shangri-La Industries, a downtown LA-based developer of affordable housing, for defrauding the Home Key program that is administered by the state of California. The program awarded grant money, which included federal tax dollars, for specific projects to convert motels into housing for the homeless and to operate the units. By April of 2022, Shangri-La Industries, where Holmes was the CFO, had co-applied with multiple California cities to convert numerous properties in California, including a location in Thousand Oaks. The state asked for proof that the company had the financial capacity to build all the projects. In response, Holmes and Shangri-La knowingly submitted fake bank statements which claimed to show that the developer had about $160 million on deposit. Not only were the bank statements fake, our investigation shows that Shangri-La and its affiliates had nowhere near the amount of money they claimed they had in the fake bank statements.
That's the U.S. Attorney for the Central District of California, Bill Asaley, and he basically lays it all out. Gavin Newsom has spent $24 billion on homelessness, and he's made little progress and provided very little meaningful oversight. And you've got these massive connected developers who are taking public funds, creating assets, selling them off for massive profits. They're essentially engaged in an arbitrage scheme using taxpayer money. $24 billion to fix homelessness. But I guess what they really meant when Gavin Newsom announced that, what was it, like 15 freaking years ago, they meant an ocean of cash for all their friends and cronies. It's fraud upon fraud upon fraud, and it's not just in the spending, it's how business is done. I mean, just take the CDL scandal that's currently going on in California, which, by the way, federal government, thanks to President Trump, has finally cracked down and forced California to revoke 17,000 licenses.
California is pulling 17,000 migrant truckers from behind the wheel, revoking their commercial driver's licenses. This move follows harsh backlash from the Trump administration and comes weeks after that deadly semi-truck crash in Southern California involving a driver said to be in the United States illegally.
But it's going to take some time for that to happen, with the audits ordered by Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy delayed in the wake of that government shutdown. Right now, the Transportation Secretary is taking aim at California Governor Gavin Newsom, calling the state's decision to revoke thousands of licenses an admission they were granted to people living in the country illegally. He's threatening to revoke $160 million in federal funding if California doesn't take these CDLs from every illegal immigrant. Meanwhile, the governor firing back by pointing out those work permits were issued by the federal government. His team says those licenses were revoked because they would have expired after those drivers' legal status in the United States runs out. The head of the American Trucking Association says, regardless, we need the safest people behind those 40-ton trucks.
And of course, Gavin Newsom didn't do that because he has a conscience, because he wanted to do the right thing. No, they were forced to. And it just exposes the rot in this state. And just zoom out and look at the pattern. Homelessness dollars being plundered. Immigration scams out the freaking wazoo. And it likely goes a whole lot further when it comes to government entitlements and possibly even voting. This is a state that runs on fraud. You know, California has the biggest economy in the nation. Gavin Newsom's always boasting about that, but what do they have to show for it in terms of all the tax dollars that they spend? They've got nothing to show for it. They can't even clear their forests or have a stockpile of water during wildfire season. The richest freaking state with the worst performance, the worst taxpayer dollar ROI. This is a state where fraud, abuse, corruption runs rampant. It's basically the status quo, and we just keep seeing that on full display. Anyways, that's what I got. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
When it's time to go, you can choose how. You can wait for enforcement, or you can leave on your terms. The CBP Home app lets you self-deport with dignity, directly, and securely. Don't wait. Decide how it ends.
Crying harder. Crying harder. Trump is your president. Crying harder. Crying harder. Trump is your president.
captions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" Catch!
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core.
Hey, let me shut down the city! We are at war!
We're in a war right now.
We are at war.
So you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
And that's why the gloves are off.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
And yes, there are many threats to democracy. We see it with these extreme candidates.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
You can only push people so far. And then they start to take matters into their own hands.
What the American public want is for us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. This is an actual fight.
You know, this is literally call to arms.
The MAGA movement is a threat.
But Michelle says that, when they go low, we go high. No.
With all due respect, if they go low, we don't go high.
When they go low, we kick them.
We take them to the mud and choke them out.
And make sure that they stay down. And you know what? Kick them when they're down, because they deserve it.
Get up in the face of some Congress people.
We are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your...
We have to fight this in the streets.
We're going to fight it in the streets.
It's time to step out of your comfort zone and step out into the streets.
To our Republican colleagues, if you do not see the light, we will bring the fire. Resist! You and your little friend off of Twitter. Y'all about to find out.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
He's not going to have a third term. He may not finish this term.
That's the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. Just saying. There will be news sometime. Just so you know, there will be news.
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. Most important thing is my faith in my life.
But if you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
Baby,